Dig it.
Slow drag with Remedy. Ballyhoo and welcome. The Passion Project continues. My name is Remedy Robinson, and this is an appreciation. This is an exploration of linguistics, language, and how to capture the ethereal on a whim, as framed by the peerless poetry of the modern day master, Elvis Costello. Today's slow drag is with Radio Silence from When I Was Cruel, released in 2002. The songwriting is credited to Elvis Costello. There's a distinct lack of vulnerability coursing through this stoic ballad that is just chilling. The medium of radio and record making has been a meta concept of Mr. Costello's long before even radio, of course. So either longingly, contemptuously, or indifferently, these references act as signposts of the technological trajectory this storied career has traversed. Signal fading. Listen to what I'm saying. Testing, testing. This better be worth all of the breath I'm wasting. Maintaining radio silence from now on. Held together by the counseled against present progressive grammar construction, this first verse is an ing fest that sets the listener down right in the middle of the action. 6 of the 25 words in this verse, fading, saying, testing, wasting, and maintaining, use this construction to get us up to speed. The location of the signal, take note, is nevertheless left unstated. Barricaded in the talk radio station, hostage taken. The red on air light shines on something cheaper that passes for free speech will have to do. The fading signal, the radio silence, it's revealed, is not from some distant vessel in distress, but from within a radio station itself. This sets us on a beautiful meta spiral. The term radio silence is a self evident condition of dead air that is caused by an accident or in order to hear distress signals or to prevent the enemy from intercepting communication. In this last instance, it is said that the Japanese strike force sent no radio messages until after Pearl Harbor had been set upon. In context, then, the distress we hear is figurative rather than literal, for the time being, at any rate. The self referential disdain for endless interviews that likely subvert true sentiments is right there for the picking if we want to blur the line between the poet and the pen. Sometimes it's just too obvious to ignore. However, just because it suggests a glimpse into a writer's world doesn't mean that the veil will ever be lifted entirely. Hear him coming through loud and clear. He's trickling in your ear. He'll tell you everything you want to hear. The tape starts running. He's going to tell you something. Strings start strumming. Another humdrum conundrum. Signing off now. Maintaining radio silence from now on. But there's one thing I should have said. The hostage will end up dead. It's just a comedy. The hostage is me. I believe the technical term for telling the guest anything they want to hear is called buttering them up just before the interview begins. It seems difficult to remain on this side of cynical, given all the dog and pony shows Mr. Costello has been witness to and victim of. Here again, we are swept away on the present progressive with rhymes falling all over themselves. Each of these words, running, strumming, maintaining, frame the quick hit of strumming and humdrum. And of course, then falls into a buttery vat of humdrum and conundrum. Conundrum. It's a rock and roll word if ever there was one, yet it's not many who would dare use it, let alone place it where it makes such an impact. In this fourth verse is the third mention of radio silence. The first reference was born of fatigue. The second reference was a seemingly straightforward reporting of the facts. This third one sounds like a declaration, swearing off those tedious interviews, perhaps, the ones that state Mr. Costello's aim is true before going on to ask who Allison really is. Can you imagine the grace one must possess to go through these and other predictable questions over and over again? The Chekhov's gun of the hostage mentioned in the second verse is now paid off in the fifth verse. What do you suppose it means when the statement, the hostage will end up dead, is placed in quotes? The reveal at the end that the hostage is me is not given such treatment. This goes back to what I mentioned earlier about how just because it feels we're glimpsing the twilight world of an artist doesn't mean we're given a backstage glimpse. So pay the ransom, be on the run out groove, and get my wife down here. A helicopter on the roof, no police marksman, maintaining radio silence from now on. Joining the familiar jargon of reel to reel, flutter and wow, and probably so many more meta references I fail to catch hanging about in Mr. Costello songs. The run out groove is another analog reference to the art of making music, and in this case, vinyl. It's the area at the end of the record's final groove that is also known as the dead wax or the matrix area. While traditionally a place for master information, apparently there is a record engineer named George Peckham who is renowned for placing the motto, a Porky Prime cut, and other personalized inscriptions in this area. He is credited with inscribing a phone number on the run-out groove of this year's model that a lucky winner could call in order to claim a limited edition signed photo of Mr. Costello. There's no word on how many photos were offered or how many were claimed. And for those who are keeping word count, for as many words found in this poet's canon, words to refer to women such as wife are used rather sparingly. The world and his wife, the title of the song from Punch the Clock, is a phrase borrowed from Jonathan Swift, who coined it in 1738's polite conversation, meaning a great many people. Other than these two appearances, I'm at a loss to think of other instances in Mr. Costello's canon. Are there any examples that you can think of? As for the fourth utterance of radio silence in this piece, it speaks of the numb desperation to flee what he has called this humdrum hostage situation. There are demands, there is a risk of bodily harm. At least make it interesting. It'll all be worth it, it seems, to threaten to go radio silent. Mystery voices, drowned out by too much choice, that's not to mention the sad waste of this wonderful invention, maintaining radio silence from now on. Libraries filled up with failed ideas. There's nothing more for me there. I trust in tender ink and gentle airs. The sad waste of this wonderful invention that has turned to mere noise, biting the hand that feeds you, perhaps. And also, as mentioned, there is little vulnerability, even in the face of fleeing the scene, detected in his voice. He is fearless in his writing, fearless in his deeds. Take, for instance, bemoaning the saturation of words that have already been written, but of course there is a new stunning phrase to wander around in right afterwards. I trust in tender ink and gentle airs. I might be able to guess at the first layer of tangled meaning found in this piece, yet I continue to rest assured that there is so much more to it than this, blissfully more. Do those drug dealers still polish women made of wax? Gangsters and world leaders require the same protection from attack from a distance. It's hard to tell the difference between a king and a jack, than a poet and a hack. Maintaining radio silence from now on. This fully formed yet divergent ending verse is tied together with the final thread of maintaining radio silence from now on, which trails on in an almost daydream like voice. It leaves the stage with a reminder and perhaps an accusation. In short, he is the master, as if we didn't already know that. Dig it. Again, this has been a slow drag with Radio Silence from 2002's When I Was Cruel. It's a piece that rounds out a truly masterful collection of self-reflection and other forms of obscure features of life. It uses a ballad format and the present progressive grammar construction to situate a story that might just be a story within a story, or perhaps it's not a story at all and just a fleeting glimpse of a moment of a day-to-day, workaday world dismay. And that's it for today's slow drag, my friend. Thank you for listening. Other gems from When I Was Cruel you'll enjoy a slow drag with are episodes 2, You Only Wanted to Be Famous. That's a slow drag with Alibi. Episode 42, A Creature of Habit. It's a slow drag with Tart. And episode 49, Every Twisted Grudge. That's a slow drag with Soul for Hire. And episode 63, I'm Counting on You. It's a slow drag with the wonderful little My Little Blue Window. Let me tell you about my first novel, The Most Terrible Time in My Life Ends Thursday. It's now available. The link is in the show notes. Give it a read, review it, and spread the word. I'm working on an audiobook version that will be out later this summer. My second book is also well underway. Now is the perfect time to tell people you knew me when. Go ahead and find me on social media if you'd like. I'm in all the usual places. Just search for my name, Remedy Robinson, or the name of my podcast, Slow Drag with Remedy. Also, there's slowdragwithremedy.com for companion blogs, transcripts, and other useful information. So please take the time to subscribe, give me a 5-star rating, and as always, thank you so much for helping to get the word out about this little passion project. Truly, it means the world. So, until next time, adieu, my little ballyhoo. Slow drag with Remedy.